Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry if I woke you up. It's my fault. I'll try to keep it down. How many here? I hope you are here to learn a little bit more about DocuSign. I've seen some nodding heads. This is good. If you're here for other purposes, just have a place to rest. Welcome. If you're just here to multitask through this presentation, you're also welcome as well. Hopefully, I can provide you with a little bit of information about what we're doing at DocuSign. My name is Marshall Nam. I'm a product manager at DocuSign. Feel free to tweet me, follow me at that handle. I'll warn you, I am a Cleveland sports fan, so you'll get way too much information about everything that's going on with American football if you follow me. Let's talk. First off, anything I say, standard disclaimer, I may promise you the clouds in the world, but please make your purchase decisions, your investment decisions based on what you have available on Earth today. That is my disclaimer. I will not be held responsible for anything beyond that. When we think about DocuSign, at DocuSign, we think about making the world more agreeable. And it sounds cute, I know, but we think about it very seriously in terms of we want to make it easier for you to do business with your partners, easier to do business with your customers. And we think about, in terms of our customers, we want it to make it easier to do business for all the customers that we have, whether it's individual real estate agents, all the way up to the largest Fortune 500 companies in the world. And we're serious about that mission. And thinking about what agreements are, we think that businesses run on agreements. Every single day, every interaction that you do is powered by these agreements that you have between your partners, your customers, and even internal employees. And we think we can make that process a lot easier and a lot better for you. As an example, if we think about something near and dear to our hearts, the sales process. You think about all these different stages in the process, and maybe some of the customers that you have are using DocuSign for some part of this process, maybe sending out an NDA during the opportunity cycle. When you're actually quoting something to a customer, we have great CPQ integrations. We're actually sending out these proposals. When you're billing, you're invoicing. Every single one of these things is a business agreement. When you're managing these things today, it was much harder to do when you didn't have Salesforce or CPQ. But without DocuSign, it's interesting. Digging into it, what we found talking to our customers is that every customer has what we call a system of agreement. And these systems, people may not realize that they're systems today, but these systems involve everything that goes into preparing an agreement before it gets agreed to. So this often goes down to Microsoft Word, creating files, working with a whole bunch of people to get that exactly right and tuned to what you want to be agreed to, and then actually sending it out for signature. And if you haven't used an electronic signature solution, is everybody here using DocuSign? Like maybe a quick show of hands? Okay, so about 50-50. There's some of you at your companies or maybe the customers that you're working with where you're going through that painful process of actually having to print, fax, send by FedEx. I hope not, but we can help you with that. Maybe there are better ways to do this. But I think even for people that are using DocuSign, when these things are completed in DocuSign and agreed upon, maybe you're not using this technology to actually act and perform other actions in your system, in this system of agreement. Maybe actually generating the next action invoice, activating fulfillment, updating status inside of Salesforce, entering and using these other connected systems that you have that you could really be automating and unlocking the power of the system agreement. And then when you go and manage these things, being able to access them using some of the partner technologies that we have, actually coming in and be able to use AI and other storage and search mechanisms to actually be able to understand and search through agreements. We're doing this all manually today for many of our customers, and I think that's a shame. So looking at doing some analysis with some other partners of ours, we found that customers that aren't using DocuSign for these processes, just thinking about sales, on average, the sales cycle is 7 days slower. Think about the pace at which companies have to sell today. 7 days slower is a direct tie to revenue that can be generated for the business. For your salespeople, it's a 58% productivity lost. A serious amount of work spent handcrafting these agreements, getting them out the door, preparing them, doing all these things that can be done in an automated and electronic way. And what it really boils down to, just at the hard cost level, not thinking even larger than that, just the hard cost of what you're doing, time, paper, shipping, we're talking about $36 per agreement. So if you think about all those agreements that we talked about that are part of what you do in the daily course of your business, that adds up to a lot of money very quickly. And I think that's why we have so many customers. I think we talked about from the smallest companies to the big companies that trust us to work with them and take their systems of agreements from these manual, person-driven processes and make them automated, make this all visible and electronic in a way that is really the way that we should be doing business today. And one that I'd really like to highlight is that one, that little blue cloud up in the high-tech section. And rather than hear it from me, maybe we should just hear it from them themselves. So.
Salesforce is an amazing company. We have been named the innovator of the decade, which is pretty incredible. I tell my team it's the year of Trailblazers. And when you think about what a Trailblazer is, we're all blazing trails. You look at the community we're creating, our partners and our ecosystem, all of us are innovating together. And when I think about Trailblazers, we really challenge ourselves, how do we do business differently? I can't even imagine doing business before DocuSign. What I didn't realize at the time, it was going to be more than we ever imagined what it could do. We thought it was an e-signature platform. It is much more than that. And we started thinking about how can we capture additional data through DocuSign, not just who signed it. I think what DocuSign is really bringing is this concept of a system of agreement. Everybody has to prepare documents. They're getting them signed somehow. They're fulfilling the obligations. And then they've got to manage that agreement and that relationship across the enterprise. A salesperson puts together a quote, we have to get that thing signed, so we send it out through DocuSign. We capture all this additional data, but now DocuSign is enabling downstream automation for us. So once you get a signed contract, there's still something you have to do. You've got to deliver service to the customer. You have to bill the customer. And of course you need to close the opportunities because the salesperson wants to see that closed one and ring the bell. I think the partnership between Salesforce and DocuSign is just a sign of things to come.
So we love Salesforce. Salesforce is a terrific customer of ours. We have 12,000 sales representatives at Salesforce actually using DocuSign today. This is used in over 90%, or for 90 use cases at Salesforce. Some of our largest enterprise customers are actually in the 400 to 500 use case range using DocuSign. And using this technology, at least with Salesforce, 90% of the deals that they send out on the sales side close in less than a day. You know, almost 3/4 of them in less than an hour. So in terms of the pace of business that you can drive with this, it's amazing. As an aside, another customer, they found that when they implemented DocuSign, it actually tripled their use of Salesforce in terms of engagement, because salespeople started to look at Salesforce as not a tool, not a chore, something that they had to do to keep everybody informed about what they were doing, but it actually became a tool for them to drive their business and actually accelerate the sales that they were doing. So great benefit there. Also inside of Salesforce, used by procurement, HR, legal, additional functions, really fulfilling out those 90+ use cases. As a partner, DocuSign for Salesforce, the #1 electronic signature solution on the App Exchange. We have other solutions as well that I'll cover. We are not just signature, as we talked about. We are expanding our solution set to cover this full system of agreement for our customers. We love Salesforce so much. We're a peak sponsor here at TDX. And we are a 1% pledge partner as well. We contribute heavily to the community, and we follow the matching model of 1% of our time, or 1% of our equity, or 1% of what we earn as employees. So very serious about that. And as an investor, we're also very proud of the fact that I think there was a Business Insider article that came out that said 2019, DocuSign was the #1 investment that Salesforce had made. They made some good money along with us during our IPO, and we think they're pretty happy about that as well. So. That was not a forward-looking statement, by the way. Please, nothing about future items there. Let's talk about the Agreement Cloud and what it actually means, the system of agreement in the Salesforce ecosystem. So we have the products that I think most people here are familiar with. We have DocuSign for Salesforce, which is our flagship offering. We have DocuSign support for CPQ. We have additional solutions for what we call agreement generation or document generation and workflow that really enable what happens with that system of agreement. And since we have developers in the crowd today, can also talk a little bit about solutions that we have for developers to actually build DocuSign into your custom applications. So starting from the top, our flagship offering, really for the meatiest of use cases for our enterprise customers, you can take this and you can actually send and sign from Salesforce. And it looks like my marketing person actually put the wrong screenshot in there, so please ignore the screenshot. What you see is that you'll actually be able to send and sign documents directly from Salesforce. You can automate them so you can send directly from an opportunity object or any other object that you set up inside of Salesforce. And it's all click-driven. Like there's very little code that you have to write. If you're not using custom buttons in JavaScript, you can do it through a new technology we call DocuSign envelope configurations. That doesn't require you to write any code. And new for the 7.2 release, which I was hacking away at my laptop in order to get the release done for it. So in about a week and a half, we're introducing support for process builder actions. So no longer are you going to have to code a custom API to actually go and make a call to DocuSign to do something. You actually be able to do that as a built-in process builder action. We hope that can really accelerate the process of really building this in as an automated function, especially if you're not, I think a day-to-day developer, but more of an admin that wants easier access to these technologies. Do we have a lot of people here that are working on CPQ solutions or have CPQ implemented at their companies? Okay, I see some nodding heads here. We have a solution, we have a CPQ extension package available on the App Exchange as well. So if you have CPQ documents, you've built your process around Salesforce CPQ, you actually be able to generate your document and send it out. In the future, we're also looking at payment support on our payments platform to integrate into that in the future. And that was a forward-looking statement, so please disregard that last thing that I just said. DocuSign Gen. Let's talk about agreement generation and some of the workflow solutions we have. I think especially for SMB mid-market customers, or maybe you just want to dip your toes in the water of things that DocuSign can do outside of electronic signature, we have a very easy to use, easy to set up solution where you can set up your agreements so that they can be generated with a single click by users within your company. And on top of that, they can be custom configured. So merging in data from Salesforce and using the merged data from Salesforce to conditionally say, I want this paragraph in for this type of customer. I want to remove this paragraph for this other type of customer. So you can start building infinite permutations of a customized document, all with a single click. Very powerful technology. This has been out for about 3 months now, and we've seen tremendous response for it. And if that's not enough for you, if you really want automated workflow and you start thinking about all the really heavy-duty things that you want to do, especially when it comes to negotiation and redlining, as well as actions you want to drive during the generation, negotiation, and redlining process, we really recommend our Spring CM contract management solution, a full-fledged contract lifecycle management solution that is also integrated with Salesforce and available on the App Exchange today. And then for developers in the audience, I thought I saw at least a few hands not go up when I asked about admin. So I think we have at least a few developers here. We know that if you were working and developing on our old DFS code base before, the classic flagship, some people got creative. They may have hacked in and used some unintended ways to integrate with that. We wanted to make that a little bit easier. So we developed an Apex toolkit where you can have a fully supported way to integrate with our electronic signature solutions. So that is available today as well. You can learn more at developer.docusign.com/Salesforce. And happy to share that with you if you want to talk with me afterwards. And that's it. I wanted to keep this short. I wanted to give you time to come and ask questions, and especially to go down to the developer forest downstairs. We have a big booth down there at booth 19. If you want demos of the products that you've seen today, please go down there. We have actually our developers, not hired contractors, our actual development team down there to answer your questions. And if you really want to get into anything from Apex Toolkit to what does Gen look like to I'm just new and I want to see what DocuSign for Salesforce is, they can answer all of your questions. And I will say, personal opinion, I think we have the coolest swag at TDX. So make sure you pick up enough when you get down there as well. And for Apex, I also want to give a plug to one of my good friends and one of our lead developers who helped develop the Apex Toolkit. Tomorrow at 11:30, room 2009, we'll actually have a dedicated session on the Apex Toolkit for DocuSign for Salesforce. So please attend that, bring your questions. Hopefully we can get you accelerated and up to building a custom DocuSign application faster. Thank you.